are lots of things all around us, exciting things that surround us.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Things that go up, things that go down, things that go pop, things that go round, with special cameras to show you inside. It's going to be a big surprise.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Do you know?
Let's find out!
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm having a fun day out. I'm going ice skating. Have you ever been ice skating? It can be a bit tricky at first, but it's lots of fun to have a go. Ice skating is so much fun, but how does all this ice stay cold and hard enough to skate on? How does an ice rink work? Let's find out. How does it work?
Ice rink.
A big ice rink like this starts out as lots and lots of water. But water is a liquid. It's runny, and you couldn't skate on that, could you? So something happens to the water to make it hard enough to skate on. Do you know what that is? Liquid water turns into frozen water called ice. I've got 2 glasses, one full of liquid water, one full of frozen water. Let's look in more detail with my special camera. This is a thermal camera, and it tells us how hot or cold things are by showing us different colours. So if I point the camera at the liquid water, can you see it shows up yellow and red? And that's because the liquid water is quite warm compared to the frozen water. Look how blue that is. That's because it's ice. It's really, really cold. So what colour do you think the ice rink's going to be? Wow! Come and have a look at this! The ice rink is blue, dark blue, because it is so cold. I think it looks a little bit like an ocean. So what about my feet? Should we go for a little skate? So my feet and my legs are yellow and red because they're much warmer than the ice. But how do you freeze something as big as this? Well, the answer lies beneath the ice. Let's take a closer look. An ice rink is made of lots of layers of different materials. The first layer is made of small stones pressed tightly together to make a hard base. Next comes a deep layer of sand that has heating pipes inside. The heat stops the ground underneath the ice rink from freezing and cracking. Next, a layer of insulation keeps the warmth from the pipes down in the ground and the cold up in the ice. On top of this is a layer of concrete that has miles and miles of pipes inside. A machine, called a chiller, pumps a special liquid called glycol that does not freeze through the pipes under the rink. The special liquid is very, very cold. The concrete gets colder and colder, so that when water is put on top, it freezes and goes from runny liquid water to a solid ice rink. So we can keep skating on the ice. It doesn't just have to be cold. We also need it to be smooth. So ice rinks have special machines called ice resurfacers that repair the ice to make sure they're nice and smooth to skate on. And here comes one now. Wow, can you see how smooth the ice is after the ice resurfacer's been over it? It looks like glass, doesn't it? But how does that work? Let's look outside. Underneath the ice resurfacer is a sharp blade that shaves off a very thin top layer of the ice rink. And then these corkscrews scoop up that loose ice, and then the truck can dump all of that ice out here, and the shaved ice looks just like snow. Next, it sprays water on top of the ice. Look at the jets just here. Wow! Now that water fills the grooves that have been made by the blades on your ice skates. The water freezes, which makes the surface smooth again. So, shall we see this in action, out on the ice? Can you see the blades cutting the rough ice? Listen to that! That's the sound of the ice being shaved off the top of the ice rink. It's a little bit like a vacuum cleaner. And now look, the jets are spraying on the water. Because the concrete underneath is so cold, it only takes 10 seconds for the water to freeze and turn to ice. And with the resurfacing finished, the ice rink looks as good as new, ready for more ice skating. I think ice rinks are amazing. The water is always cold and hard enough so that we can skate on it and have lots of fun. What was your favourite bit about finding out how an ice rink works? Do you remember the name of the machine that made the ice smooth? Yes, it's called an ice resurfacer. And did you hear the sound it made? And did you see what colour the ice looked through my special thermal camera? It was blue. There are lots of ways to have fun and get our bodies moving. I like walking, running, and jumping. And jumping's even more fun when it's on something really, really bouncy. Have you ever been on a bouncy castle? They're really fun, aren't they? You can bounce high or low, or even fall over. Lots of air is trapped in the bouncy castle to make it bouncy. But do you know how the air gets inside or how a bouncy castle is made? Let's find out. How is it made?
A bouncy castle.
There are lots of types of inflatables. Small ones and big ones. And they're all filled with air. Bouncy castles are made up of lots of different parts. The bit that goes over the top is called the A-frame. This part that you walk up is called the steps. The bit you bounce on we call the bed, and then you have walls at the side and the back. And the final part is this at the back. It's called the inflation tube, and it's where the air is pumped into the bouncy castle to make sure it's soft and bouncy. To make a bouncy castle, we start in a place like this, a bouncy castle factory. All the bouncy castles made here are designed on a computer, and the exact shapes and sizes we need are stored in its memory. Bouncy castles are made from a material called PVC. That's this stuff. And for our bouncy castle today, we need 66 meters. That's almost the same length as 5 buses. The PVC is laid out on this huge table, but it's not cut with scissors. It's cut by this machine. It's called a computer numerical control cutter, or a CNC. And just here, it has a special spinning cutting tool that's actually called a pizza wheel, and it's that cuts the PVC. The computer tells the cutting machine the exact shapes and sizes that need to be cut out. It's called a pattern. Paul looks after the machine, and today he's given me special permission to press the start button. Okay, here goes. Ooh. What do you think this is going to be? This is going to be a side wall of our bouncy castle. But that all happened really fast, didn't it? So I'm going to use my special camera to help us see the cutter working in close-up. Can you see how fast the machine is moving? It's cutting 50 pieces for our bouncy castle in lots of different colours. Can you see the shapes? Look, that's a circle. The machine makes a brilliant sound, doesn't it? Now we have all 50 pieces to make the bouncy castle, but they're not quite ready to be put together yet. This is the fun part, painting. The bouncy castle design is painted onto some of the pieces, and Dean is painting different animals. This is going to be a bird. But what theme do you think this bouncy castle is going to be? Can you see the tiger, the snake, and another blue bird? It's going to be a jungle design. Now all the pieces come here to be sewn together by these two big sewing machines.
The first pieces are sewn together to make the A-frame.
And can you hear the sound of the sewing machine? It's like a motorbike, isn't it? Next, these pink and purple panels are going to become the bed. That's the part that you bounce on. It's very clever. The sewing machines are on tracks, so they can move the whole length of the pieces of PVC without having to lug the fabric all around.
Next, the pink panels that make up the steps are sewn in place.
Can you see all the tiny stitches that go through from the front to the back? They use a really strong thread to keep the pieces firmly together, ready for bouncing on. It's time for the back wall to be stitched. Do you remember all the animals? This is the inflation tube. It goes at the back of the bouncy castle, and it's where the air gets pumped in to make sure that it's bouncy. Look, all of the pieces have been sewn together. But this isn't very good for bouncing on, is it? That's because we need to put some air in it. We just need to plug in the fan and fill it up. Here goes. I love how it's unfolding and slowly getting bigger. Oh look, there's the tiger, the snake, and the bird there, can you see? There's only one thing left to do, and that's bounce on it. I loved seeing how bouncy castles are made, did you? What was your favourite bit?
Can you remember the name of the material that was used to make the bouncy castle? That's right, it's called PVC. Did you like the sound of the sewing machine when they stitched the PVC together? And did you see how quickly the cutter cut out the pieces?
So the next time you go jumping on a bouncy castle, you'll know how it was made. And now you know how an ice rink is kept cold and smooth for people to skate on. I'll see you next time.